Have you ever had one of those moments where you journal something out, feel a little clearer, maybe even proud of the work you're doing, only to find that a few days later you're in the exact same emotional loop? It's like part of you thought, I handled this, but another part still right there, gripping tight. If you've spent time getting to know your emotions, reflecting on them, tracking patterns, even learning the language around them, and yet you still find yourself reacting in the same old ways, you're not missing anything obvious, and you're not doing it wrong. What I've discovered over and over, both in my own training and with others, is that there's a quiet assumption built into a lot of emotional work, and that assumption can actually keep you stuck. Sometimes emotional work offers a real sense of relief. You journal or talk something through, and suddenly it's like, space. But then something small happens, a look, a tone, a missed text. And before you know it, the tension is back in your chest. Your mind starts spinning again. You react in the same way you always do. It can feel like, wait, didn't I already work through this? What I've discovered over and over is that relief isn't the same thing as repatterning. Relief feels good. It can create a pause. But the nervous system doesn't rewire from insight or release alone. It rewires through repetition, through the emotional signals it practices most. So if what's being reinforced day after day is anxiety, frustration, or collapse, even if it's wrapped in reflection or care, that becomes the default. A lot of emotional frameworks focus on why you feel what you feel, why that reaction shows up, why it hurts so much. And sometimes the why helps. It gives you language, perspective. It can create a sense of space. But insight alone doesn't shift how your body responds. It doesn't train a new state. If someone realizes they shut down during conflict because they fear rejection, that's insight. But unless they learn how to generate and stay with a different internal response, like steadiness or presence, when conflict actually shows up, the nervous system keeps defaulting to the shutdown. That kind of shift doesn't come from analyzing more. It comes from training, choosing a new emotional state on purpose, practicing it when the stakes are low so that when the moment arrives, your system already knows what to do. Sometimes emotional exploration becomes the comfort zone, journaling, naming, processing, and then cycling through again. One person I worked with had spent years building awareness. They could name every emotion in the room. They knew all their patterns, but they still felt unstable in real life moments, reactive, unclear. So instead of continuing to unpack emotion, we started doing something different, training specific states on demand. For example, choosing presence and decisiveness and staying with that signal in the body for 30 seconds at a time. Not thinking about it, not trying to feel calm, but generating the emotion itself intentionally and letting the nervous system experience it. At first, it felt strange, but with repetition, that new state started to take root. They stopped spiraling not because they suppressed anything, but because their system had a new pathway it trusted more than the old one. That's what training actually does. It gives the nervous system something else to rely on. If this is landing, feel free to subscribe. I share videos each week that help you train emotional steadiness in a clear, structured way, without guesswork or fluff. There's a belief out there that if something moves you deeply, if it brings you to tears or into a big emotional release, that must mean something powerful is shifting. And yes, those experiences are real, they're human, but feeling something intensely isn't the same as building something new. One person I worked with felt deeply often. Every time they talked about a certain topic, tears would come. They believed that response meant healing was happening, but their system wasn't learning a new state. It was simply rehearsing the same pattern. So we changed the practice. Instead of riding the emotional wave all the way down, they started training a different signal, like calm focus or grounded confidence, right at the moment the wave began to build. We worked in short, focused reps, not to override emotion, but to teach the nervous system this is an option too. Over time, that new state became more accessible. Eventually, it became more familiar than the overwhelm that used to take over. This is one of the most powerful shifts I've seen. The realization that you are always training something, even if it's unconscious. Every time you practice reactivity, every time you give in to the urge to shut down, every time you let urgency, worry, or self-doubt take over, you're reinforcing those states. Not because you want to, but because the nervous system memorizes whatever it does most. The good news? You can teach it something different. You can deliberately choose and condition emotional states like calm, clarity, and certainty. Not by thinking your way into them, but by generating and reinforcing them through repetition. That's what creates a new baseline. And if you're hearing this and thinking, that's me, I've been doing all the emotional work, but I haven't actually trained anything, you're not behind, you're not broken, you've just been using tools that weren't designed to rewire your system. And now maybe you're ready for something different, something you can actually build. Here's what I've seen consistently shift long-standing emotional patterns. Training specific emotional states on purpose, so they become your body's new normal. That means recognizing the moment your old emotional patterns wants to take over, interrupting it gently, even for a few seconds, generating a new state like calm, openness, or certainty, and holding that state long enough for the body to start recognizing it. This doesn't have to be dramatic. You don't need to wait for a breakthrough moment. You just need a clear plan, consistent reps, and enough commitment to stay with the training even when nothing feels urgent. That's where the real rewiring happens. What emotional state are you reinforcing right now without even realizing it? Is it pressure? Is it hesitation? Is it the constant feeling of being in process? And what would happen if you started practicing something different on purpose? If you're ready to move beyond emotional maintenance and start building a resilient, steady inner foundation, I've created a system that integrates perception, emotion, and nervous system training. It's not about managing symptoms, it's about shifting the signal entirely. You can find the link below if that feels like your next step. You can also find me on Instagram at Mike Wang Coaching. I share weekly practices and reflections there. And if you want deeper support, the newsletter's below as well. Thanks for spending this time with me. I'll see you in the next one.